Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Vern's Misadventures. So, in part one of this series on the CoCo 2, we modified the CoCo 2 with additional RAM and added the extended basic ROM, which it's actually an EEPROM, and set it up for use with the CoCo SDC. Well, today we're going to set up the CoCo SDC and see what that's all about. So, without further ado, here is part 2. Okay, so we tried the CoCo SDC with a 64 gigabyte SD card. I remember reading something in the other one for the MC10 that you shouldn't have a partition larger than 32 gigs. So let's try partitioning this thing into smaller partitions, I guess. So let's try that. Now it's actually into the computer here. CoCo 2 SD, huh? Devices. Oh, let's refresh devices. Now I go to devices. Should be it's probably it here. SDI for 5824. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So the first thing we'll do is, of course, unmount it. Then we'll delete that partition. Then we will add a new partition. We'll give it 30 gigs, 30,000 or something. There'll be a primary partition at FAT32. We'll add it. And we'll just leave the rest unallocated. Let's go ahead and click the old check mark to make these changes happen. There we go. There is our file system. So the next best thing to do here is close this and go back into Windows. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to set up the SD card for the CoCo SDC. Next thing to do is we're going to see if we can find some software. Let's open a new tab. Let's see what I've got here. Tandy. Alright, let's look in the MC10. I got a link for the archive. Color Computer Archive, yeah. So you go to Archive and then you go to CoCo SDC. Let's see. Alright, so I got a few files. We'll close this thing up. So our SD card has got some software on it now. And I'm hoping this is going to be very similar to the one on the MC10. Alright. That's in there. So, I figured a few things out. Let me share them with y'all. I turn on the computer. Okay. So, it automatically boots into this SDC DOS 1.6 CC2, right? So, I was doing directory right here like so, and it would get IO error. So on this, you have to do directory and a quotation. Then that shows you some of the things on here. Now, I found a WAV file and I thought it would be similar to the one that goes with the MC10, but apparently it's not, and it only supports a given amount of file types. So it supports 4 different file types. So you got DSK images, so disk images, right? It also supports JVC images, SDF images, and VDK images. So it doesn't support tape files or WAV files. So it also differs in that you actually have to mount a disk, right? And press here. We'll bring this up here where we know we're going to get the camera on it. So in order to mount the disk, what you have to do is you can type drive. Alright, so there's nothing mounted in the drive right now, right? So if we were to do the directory again, we'll see that these are the choices for disks. So right now I have an SDF that needs to be initialized. That's a single-sided disk format that's specific to a virtual floppy disk set up like this. Now, my programs disk right here, I created that and saved a goofy basic programs on that. And then the Big Bird disk is one that I actually found on archive.org. So let's go ahead and run through some of these here. So in order to mount a disk, you have to know the name first. So let's do a directory again. I'm trying to get this where it ends up on the screen where you can see it. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go drive 0, comma, and then you're going to specify a disk. So we will mount my programs in my progs.disk. Okay, now once you've done that, now if you do the drive command again, you see that in drive 0 it shows your my programs disk. So effectively, if this was a real floppy disk drive and not a virtual one, you would have put a disk in the drive by doing that. Okay, so now you can do a directory and it actually shows what's actually in that floppy disk that's mounted in the drive. And then if you wanted to load, like we could load VM tab, we'll do 2. Okay, so you don't have to put the basic extension on it once you've got the disk mounted, right? So list. And so this is just a goofy program I wrote just to test. What text? CoCo SDC, right? So that's all fine and good. So then let's say if you want to mount a different disk, you don't have to eject this one, you just mount another one in its place. So let's do the directory again. Okay, and as long as you put that quote mark, it gives you the directory of the SD card. It doesn't give you the directory of the mounted disk. So say if we wanted to do the Big Bird one, right? So we would go drive 0, comma, and then we would go Big Bird .disk. Okay. So now that that's mounted, we could do a directory. And then if we wanted to load that, now this is a binary, so you have to do load m. You can't do load like you would do in BASIC. So this is a machine language. So we go load m Big Bird .binary. All right, so you load in Big Bird .binary. Press enter. Okay, it took a minute, but then it says okay, so it's done, right? Now, to execute a binary, you have to type exec and enter. So, let's kind of show you the game real quick. It's kind of neat. Press a number, then press enter. So let's play the same game, or the find the right kind game. So I like the find the right kind game better. Okay, so we'll go to level A. So your job is to deliver packages to stores that have matching pictures. A matching picture is the same kind of thing as the picture on your package. So this is geared towards kids. I guess I'm not very smart, because it took me a minute to figure out what they meant here. So we have a plane, right? Well, a plane is kind of a vehicle, I guess. So you see where this store over here has cars. So let's take it over there. And then you press the up arrow. There you go. Now the only way to really get out of this is to press the reset button, I think. So you press the reset. And then from there, from a machine language one, it goes ahead and just reboots the computer. Now, I had a basic program kind of lock up, and I don't know if there's something wrong with my machine or what, but it did. It locked up quick responding. So I had to press the reset, and my basic program was still in RAM, so I was happy about that. So another thing I could show you here is we can create a new disk. So let's show the disks here, right? So the SDF, you're going to have to initialize it after you created it. So in my very amateur opinion at this point, it's just easier to create a disk. Now, a disk only has so many K that you can store, and see there you got 261K on this my program's SDF. So you can definitely store more data on an SDF, which might come in handy for not having to create so many disks. So we'll go ahead and create a disk, and to do that you simply write, you do drive 0, comma, and then the name of your disk. So we'll make my new disk .dsk, and then space, comma, and then you have to write new. What did I do wrong? File name too long, maybe? Drive 0, comma. They'll just put new disk. Maybe it's too long. Okay, new disk .dsk, and then a space and a comma, and then new. And it did work. So I think the file name was too long. It's the only thing I could figure. So at any rate, now if we look at our directory, we see that we have our new disk there, 158K. So it's already mounted. If we do a directory with no quotes, we see we don't have anything on this disk, it's blank. So we could write a basic program for I equals 1 to 8, 20, CLSI 30. See, here's what I was talking about. The machine just locked. But I've noticed that if I just press reset and go to list, it's still there. And I believe our disk is still mounted. We can check that here. See, we got new disk.disk here. So I don't know what's wrong here or why it's doing that. That's a fault somewhere. So we run a program. Let's add a delay in there somewhere. So we'll go 30 for D equals 1 to X. 25. We can put X equals, let's try 200. That might be too slow for our taste, but anyway. And then we had to go 40 with next I. Let's try it. That's not too bad. It's not too violent. List. Let's add a little feature to it. Let's do a renumber. Now we've got all the nice 10 apart. How about that? So then we could go 25. Yeah, let's do 25. And we will go sound, and we will go 100 plus I times 10. So basically we'll run from 101 or 110 to 180 on the range here, and we'll make that the duration of 1. Let's see, should work. Yep. So we got this, then we can save our program. We'll save, let's see, SLSH slash beep. How about that? I don't think you have to put .basic. No, you didn't. So we do directory. Now we see that we have flash beep.basic over here. So that's basically what I've been able to learn this evening about using the CoCo SDC. Now, there is another option here that we might try, and that is I've downloaded the SDCX. So if we read the README here, the SDCX is an Explorer, and it'll make it a little easier to use, I think. It lists the files and directories on the SD cards. My concern is if I put this on here, I won't learn how to do this without it. So, but there are ways in here where you can also add an auto exec file. Let me move this out of our way. So you can add an auto exec file that will execute when you start the computer, which you could actually invoke this program to do that. So I'll learn more about that and do that at another time. You know, pretty neat. I may go ahead and install that SDCX disk. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to put it on the SD card, and we can mount it and run it if that's what we choose to do. So while we're here, we may as well do some cleanup. Alright, so this is our CoCo 2 SD card, right, and my desktop computer here. So we're not going to use the My Programs SDF, so we're just going to delete that. We can't use Arkanoid Wave, so we will delete that. I don't know what the deal is here, so delete that. And so now everything here is actually usable. Now I would imagine we can rename these things if we wanted to outside of the CoCo. I would assume it would work. At any rate, let's bring that other one in here, the SDXC or SDCX. We'll bring that over here and drop it in there. And then we'll put it back in the CoCo. Put it in the CoCo SDC. You gotta do it with the connectors up. Now, out of the box, this particular one that I bought, it was really stiff on the SD card. Now, I took it apart when I kept getting I/O errors because I thought maybe a jumper was set or something. I wanted to look. And all it was is I just didn't know what I was doing as far as using this thing. Imagine that. So, you know, let's see if we can, let's get this thing mounted up and let's see what happens with it. So drive 0, SDCX.disk. Let's load SDCX basic. We'll run it. I guess you use the first letter of thing, huh? You could choose an alternate color set. Nice. So brake will exit. So that. Oops. It did not like that plan. Alright, we'll turn it off, turn it back on again. So we would have to do it all over again. Oh, okay, there's a config file in here now. So with that on there, I wonder if we do the... So we would have to do it again here. Let's see, drive. There's nothing mounted, so we would go drive 0, comma, SDCX/disk. Now we can set it up to do this automatically, but I don't think I want to do that. And reason being, load SDCX basic and run it. So we get the splash screen. Huh. Okay. Arrows. Okay, so this gives you a graphical thing you can use, which makes it pretty simple to use, actually. But I'll tell you what, I'm kind of enjoying learning how to type my way through the commands to actually load a disk and do things with them. I wanted to share the process of actually trying to figure out how to set this thing up. If we mounted that to drive 1, and we did disk, so now we leave drive 0 open and we wouldn't overwrite it. Directory. Okay, and so we just do a drive 1. Yeah, so we could switch back and forth. We could actually run things on that. Let's see how that works. I don't know. Let's see. So we want to load SDCX. And run it. Right. So Shift H will get you the help menu. Oh, okay. So doesn't look like it's all that difficult. Okay. We won't make it auto execute, but we'll make it where we can just use the command to invoke it. How about that? So we're going to rename it to SDCEXP.disk. So rename SDCEXP.disk. And then we're going to say new. And it needs to be a new text file, text document. Document needs to be named, so it's startup.config. We'll rename that. And then change that to config. Okay, and then we should be able to open that with a text editor. And let's see. We want to add this here. We want to add this line to our config. We'll have to modify it a little bit, where instead of number you put a a drive number. I'm going to put 1, I think. So we'll just put Control V to paste that on there, and then we'll change that to 1, 1. And then we'll do file save. And with that, we should have it set up to where it auto executes, and we can invoke it just by typing the exp command. Well, let's see if it works. Put it back in the machine. Here. And we turn it on. Awesome. So if we type, there it is. So we have the best of both worlds. We can use this if we want to. We don't have to use it if we don't want to. And if we want to play Big Bird, bam. Just that simple. And if we want to exercise our skills, expanding our knowledge, we can do it the hard way too. Once that's done, we just type execute. EXEC. So, we got the best of both worlds here. We can do it either way. I like it. See, I was concerned. What if you wanted to type a basic program? Do you have to do something special to get into basic? But no, you don't have to do that here, because you have to invoke it with the exp command to use it. So that's awesome. And if you don't want it, well, you can exit. That's one option. Yeah, good. So it's not even the program's not loaded or anything. So if you want to invoke it, just exp. That is awesome. Yeah, I'm glad I installed it. Definitely will make life easier if you want it, or you can do it the hard way if you want to learn and hone your skills with working your way through the DOS system here. So either way, that's what I wanted. Pretty cool. I think I'm going to close out here with that. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, if you'd like to see more of this nonsense, well then, I'd invite you to subscribe to the channel. So until the next one, y'all take care.